What's up, guys? Welcome back. We just want to welcome you to another episode of The World Behind Me. You see our little map here? We are in quarantine stage. If you can see, we are in a different type of room. We're not able to reveal our location at this moment. No, I'm just kidding. But on this episode of The World Behind Me, we kind of wanted to sit down and talk, give a miniature version of a TED Talk, I guess you can say. But we wanted to touch on the topic of the COVID-19. We have a variety of ages here of people that are dealing it with in a different manner. We got Minor right here, who is the working man. We have Bubba, who is the senior in high school, and we have Jacob over there, that is the junior in high school. So different levels, different places. But nonetheless, we're all facing it in one way or another. So I wanted to give it up a little bit first because I know that right now the big topic is the quarantine, the work shutting down, and in that sense. So, Minor, how is it affecting you, and what kind of word of encouragement do you have for the people that are going through it in your place?
So for me, I know a lot of workplaces are closed down. A lot of people aren't working. My work is one of the few places that will continue to keep working. It is kind of, I would say, a little frightening, nerve-wracking, because we come into contact with people. We deal with customers, and we come into contact with them every day, and with quite a bit of them every day. And so a lot of my coworkers, they're worried about catching this virus, getting sick. I'm not sure who they come into contact with. Might have, if they don't know if they might have the disease or not, or even the customers themselves are worried that the person working, doing the job for them might have the virus themselves. And so what I've been just sharing with my coworkers is, just keep your faith in God, keep your trust in Him. Eventually, just like all viruses, all pandemics, diseases, whatever you want to call them, they have all passed. They have all ran a course and ran a season, but they have all passed. And so, my word of encouragement would be to keep your faith and trust in God, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not freaking out. I'm not going out and buying a whole bunch of toilet paper and buying out the store and water bottles. I do have my supplies, but my faith and my trust is in God, that no matter what happens in this season, He's gonna see me through. He'll provide, and though I gotta keep working, He'll keep me from, prayerfully keeping me from getting this sickness as well, even though I come into contact with people. And so, if you're out there and you still gotta work during this time, that would be my word of encouragement to you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, with all your mind, and lean not on your own understanding, but to keep your faith and trust in Him, that no matter what may come, even though the world may be falling apart, that He will keep you and sustain you. So, yeah.
Kind of what mine was adding on to, I think that's why you really ask yourself during this time is, where's your faith at? Where's your heart at? Yes, you are not going to be ignorant and try to be, we're not going to be ignorant and say that, we're in faith and not comply. We still need to comply to the laws, and we still need to be very cautious, as he said, make sure that we have our supplies. But that's prophecy. The Bible has been saying it, and many men of God that have come before us have prophesied it and have told us, hey, always keep something stocked, always keep something for these type of times. And sometimes you hear them and we think, it's one of those things like God's coming back. You heard it so many times, you don't do it. But unfortunately, it takes something like this to wake some people up to say, okay, now I have to do it. We have to be wise. But we have a senior here that's probably going through some things. Not only a senior, but a birthday month guy. And I know they're probably enjoying their vacation time. No, I'm just kidding. But what would you say? This video, the purpose of this is so that we can encourage. Right. We can give somebody a new perspective. Yeah, the situation is this, but keep your eyes on this. And so, Bubba, how does that feel like for you right now, being in your grade what are you seeing from your even your classmates, and what do you have to kind of encourage that or steer that?
I mean, I don't know. Right now. My point of view is like I'm just trying to stay positive and stay. I'm trying to be the one who encourages like not only the people who are in my class, but also the ones who like I have on social media. Because you know, like I don't want to be part of the group. I don't want to say it's bad, but I don't want to be part of the group that just thinks of it as negative. I know like the coronavirus is nothing to play around with, and it has caused like many people like some type of pain in a way. Like for the seniors, they can't. Our sport season got canceled. The prom got canceled. Grad night might be canceled, and who knows if we're even gonna get to graduate and walk across stage. But I know, like for me, I was really worried about that because I've seen like many pictures on Instagram or just on social media saying like I've worked so hard these last 12 years and I might not even get to cross the stage now. And at first, I was a little worried about that too. That was my main concern, was graduating. But like, the first person I went to was the Lord. Like I just went to Him and I started praying to Him, giving me the strength to overcome the spirit of fear. Because like I went back to the class I took in Disciples Indeed, and the scripture that the Lord gave me was 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 was that for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And I just want to thank the Lord because I'm not worried about like what's going to be happening, because I know that whatever takes place, it was the Lord allowed it to happen, like it was His will. So I've been just trying to be the one who encourages our youth and the people who I go to school with or whoever has me on social media, like posting here and things like little words of encouragement. Like the other day, I posted something that went along the lines of like that God has given us the power and the authority to overcome these times of trials and tribulations, and that He has placed us in a time such as now because He knows that we have the power to overcome these things. Like this is just a season. Actually, Pastor Adi sent me a video the other day, and this young lady was sharing that many people are saying that 2020 is already starting off to be a horrible year, and I mean, I kind of second that. Like, my view is that 2020 was supposed to be a good year for me. Like, I was turning 18. My 18th birthday is in like a couple weeks. Like, and like I can't even do nothing for it, and I was really excited for it.
Just gonna cry.
What?
That's kidding.
But I'm not really worried about that. But in the video, the girl just shared that there's like in football, when you see a football game and a football team is losing the first quarter, we're barely in the first quarter of 2020. And so think of that football team losing in the first quarter, and then sometimes they can come back, and that they can make a comeback. I said sometimes, but for the good, just thinking for the most part, they do come back. Okay, we're staying positive here. But they can come back and they can still obtain victory in the end. So I guess just like my word of encouragement is just to stay through and power through, and don't allow the enemy to have a grip of fear in your heart and allow you to just have that mindset that like nothing's gonna be okay, because we're gonna overcome it. The Lord has given us the power to overcome the lies of the enemy, and so I just want to share with the rest of the youth and the kids who are my age just to remain faithful and remain strong, and at this time just keep in constant prayer and draw near to the Lord, because He's the one that gives us peace and health. So.
It's true. What is something that, how can you consume your time, or what do you do having this much time on your hands that you don't have no class? I know you guys still have work, things like that, but Jacob, what do you do to kind of keep your mind from going crazy or during these times? Or is it business as usual? Yeah, at home, or even what are you doing with the time that you have right now available?
I know it's been like a couple of days since the quarantine has been taking place and we've been out of school, but most of the time when I'm at home, all the time I'm at home now, I usually just play the PS4. I play the PS4. I wake up, I work out, I do some homework for the classes that I have.
How is it like in your mind having to be there? Do you worry at all or anything like that? Like of
the virus?
Of the virus, of it extending, the quarantine getting longer? Does that come to your mind?
No, it doesn't really bother me, but yeah.
That's cool. You know, I think one of the things that I've shared with you guys before, as he was talking, one of the things that I've shared, I'm guilty, as many people are of my generation and the generation before us, of having complaints about your guys' generation, in the sense of like, I know that before, when I was just a youth worker, there were certain times that I was like, man, you know, this generation is like this, they're like that, they're different, they're so much different. And so there was complaints about it. But God had revealed some things to me, and I know I had shared it with you guys before in my messages on Friday night, where I said, God is not going to give you anything that you can't handle. First Chronicles 10:13 says that there's no temptation and such that we put in front of you that you can't handle. And God's not going to give you something that you can't handle. And what God had been showing me was that, man, you guys are going through some of the toughest times. You guys are living in the midst of some of the toughest and hardest times, basically the end times. You guys are living in prophecy, has already come to pass. And there's certain things that happen in our time, in our season, that we were created to live for that time. We were created to live for that season. You guys were created for such a time as this. Esther talks about that in the Bible, where it's like she was put in the position that she was put in for such a time as that. And it was up to her what she would do with that. And I look at you guys and I think, like, you guys were created to live in this time and in this moment, because God knew that it was going to take such kids like you guys, such kids like, in the sense of going through what you're going through, Bubba, to be able to say, first thing I did was go to God. Such kids like you, Jacob, to be able to have a faith where some people might even misinterpret it, where they're like, oh, he's nonchalant, he doesn't care. But it's like a faith where you grew up around that type of faith, where it doesn't affect you whether, there's good or there's bad. It's not going to sway your emotions, because you're like, nah, that doesn't really bother me. And it's not being ignorant or being naive to the situation. It's just knowing that there's always a more positive outlook on it. And so that's what I think of. Like, God created you guys with that type of mentality to say, like, if some people are like, we don't go back to school, what's going to happen? You're like, we don't go back to school, we don't turn in the work that we have. Or something. You think of the positive, the pluses, and it's true. And so I think of that, and I think of you guys, and that's the perspective that God had given me. Acts chapter 2, verse 17 says, and I'll read this one. It says, and it will be in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit on all humanity. Then your sons and your daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. And I think that the old men that are around us have already been dreaming the dreams and seeing this come to pass, and have been preparing us. And now it's our responsibility to carry that the power of God, and that the Spirit is going to be pouring out upon us in these last days, to where we're going to proclaim the truth. We're going to proclaim these things to others. We're going to be an example to them. And this is our time basically to shine. This is your time to shine, Christian. This is your time to proclaim the gospel. This is your time to stand up and say, yeah, I may not see this graduation, I may not see this moment, or I may not see this, but all these things are material. And God said, don't put your heart in those things that are going to rust and rot and be stolen and go away. Put your mind on the things of God. Put your heart and your treasure and your time into the things above, because no one can steal that. Nothing will rot that away. It's not going to be able to be deteriorated or taken from us because of this. The virus has caused us to see that just like that, things can be taken, whether it's school, whether it's the gym, or whatever it may be, the time that we have outside, separation from our family for a moment. None of that can be taken. All of that can be taken, but nonetheless, our salvation can't.
That's right.
Our joy for God. Each other can't, because they can tell us that we can't do this or do that, but we have time to gather together, have a Bible study, worship, and spend time. So, man, we just have to keep our minds on things above. So, I urge you guys, and I encourage you to take this opportunity that you have to get into your Word. Get your Bibles, get involved, get connected. Don't separate yourselves, you guys. Don't get separated in this time. Get closer. Draw closer together. On whatever the laws may say and whatever may come, man, we'll start going live on Instagram. I mentioned that earlier. We'll start uploading prayer meetings on Instagram, going live to where we can pray together. We'll start doing things like that, where we're just encouraging each other with the Word of God. So we'll do what we have to do, but stay positive, all right? And so, close it out, gentlemen.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in on the segment. We are the Nobodies. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Hit that notification bell.
All right.
We'll see you in the next video.
When you touch it, it goes ding ding.
Nope.
Make sure you go follow our Generation Z page on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Pop tag right here.
It's not coming.
Don't know if we know how to do that.
Yeah.
Don't know if we know how to do
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, one day. We'll get it one day.
Why you ever chose me has always been a mystery.